Welcome back to the WCS Grand Finals. I'm Artosis alongside Apollo once again. I'm just so happy that we get to cast another one together.
Hello.
And it's another TVP.
That's right, another TVP. Two different players, though, Artosis. Couldn't have the same again. That's
right. That probably wouldn't make any sense in a bracket like this. Let's take a look at the bracket so far.
Ooh, shaping up beautifully.
Wait. Bomber beat Sulky.
Shaping up beautifully.
I didn't know that. Did you know Bomber beat Sulky?
No, I didn't.
No, that's...
We were casting during that.
Yeah, no, I guess we were. That's...
Wow.
That's crazy, man. That means that this is basically the last match of the night for us because we're going to do the round of 4 tomorrow. But as we saw, Maru took out Duck, so Bomber beat Sulky. We're going to do SOS versus Polt, and right now Deer versus Jaedong is going on, and I know that Jaedong won at least one game.
Yes, he won the first game, I think. So, I
believe so.
Pretty epic shape-up so far. We're about to get into the second quarterfinal left to complete with the main one going on the main stage at the point. But here we have Polt versus SOS, Artosis.
That's right. This is going to be a really nice match. Polt, we've seen him before. We'll see him again for all time, no doubt. A very aggressive Terran. He's just so good. I mean, what can I say about Polt? He's a full-time student.
Yep.
He's a genius. He speaks English very well. He wins tournament after tournament. SOS, on the other hand, a very creative Protoss. He's really done a lot to push forward the Protoss metagame.
But he has struggled in recent times against Terran players here.
Yeah.
And I really think that will come around to bite him here, as Polt has just been showing absolutely dominance. And it's so surprising that Polt's gone full-time in school and yet is the only player to win back-to-back WCS titles in America in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that he was able to do that while going to school full-time. He looks like... Wait, Polt got rid of... No, okay, yeah, Polt got rid of Whirlwind. Polar Knight going away for SOS. You're always going to see Polar Knight go away in PvT. I don't even want to get started. Don't even get me started on that map, PvT, Apollo.
I won't get you started on Artosis. It's a conversation for another time.
It is. Not language not appropriate to the stream would be used. Now, the first map going to be Belshir Vestige. It's a very nice map. I think that it's pretty good. I like to lean towards Protoss on that map.
Yes, I have to agree with you there.
Akalon, I feel like that gives us maybe the best games overall.
And then Frost.
Yeah, I'm not going to take that back.
Yeah.
Gives us good games.
I like Akalon Wastes. Frost third map here, then Derelict Watcher. And then that leaves just one final map remaining, which is Yonsu.
All right. Solid map setup here. You know, the problem that I see with SOS is stability. For me, that's it for him, because sometimes he looks so smart, and sometimes he does a strat, and you're like, what the hell was that? And then a month later, it's the norm, you know? But I feel like he's not as stable as this man, Polt.
Yeah, incredibly high win percentages across the board here.
Oh, God, yeah.
That's very, very high, considering the players that he plays against in WCS America and at the season finals, of course. Polt is just absolutely... We looked at him this year, especially before he went back to school. We were like, all right, Polt, I guess that's the end of your career because you won't be able to keep up with these players playing 12 hours a day. But that's not exactly what happens.
It's not the case, man. In fact, I feel like in some weird way it might help him a little bit because he's got the skill set, and it takes a lot of pressure off, in my opinion. If you have something else where, like, SOS loses here, he's, like, sad, and he goes home, and he's like, oh, this sucks. Polt loses, he's like, okay, I got to go study for this test now. You know, kind of, he has a backup. No one else does.
And SOS here, as you can see, weakest against Terran at 56%. Did have a very strong Season 1 performance, which was, I mean, it really put him into the top 16 here, and he was able to kind of put performances in Season 2 and Season 3 that could give him an extra boost of points to be able to guarantee he'd be top 16. But he really made his name with being the player that created Protoss and Heart of the Swarm. It was him. It was his builds, his strategies, his openers. It's
so many cool things that he's shown us, stuff that we've seen almost never again. You know, I remember back to Season 1 finals against Innovation and that crazy Tempest build. Like, will we ever see something like that again? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. But do you think that with SOS being weakest against Terran, do you think that has something to do with Protoss versus Terran being the least change matchup from Wings of Liberty to Heart of the Swarm?
I see what you're saying. Okay,
do you think that could be? Because he really changed Protoss versus Zerg compared to the previous game, and Protoss versus Protoss as well.
That is true. So maybe that's just something that he doesn't play as well. I didn't really think of it like that, but there's definitely some validity to what you're saying. You know, I feel like because of his flashiness, though, this is the way that I've looked at it. I guess that it's kind of a different angle from what you're saying, but it kind of related. There's not a lot of flashiness that you can do in PvT. You have to be solid as hell. Whereas in PvZ, like, he busts out new stuff, and people are like, what the hell is this? And then you kill the Zerg with it. Or in PvP, it's like you're kind of on the edge of your seat the entire game, and there's like several different unit comps you can go for. So it's like, I agree with you, yes. Yes. I don't know. This was the most bungled agreement ever.
As long as we got towards it the end.
Yeah.
So Belshir Vestige, the first map here, and I guess the reason why you said that you do like this in favor of Protoss players is one of the most standard playstyles that we see is the Ro8 style. So defensive, so crisp, and you can really play that style excellently here. You have lots of ramps, it's easier to defend these two bases. You can really get to where you want to be if you play that style.
Yeah, and the third base, it's very close by. The main base is not too big. You know, you're kind of tucked into a corner, which is always nice. So yeah, I always do feel like this favors Protoss on this map. So what is your prediction for score here, Apollo?
I have to favor Polt here.
Polt?
I mean, I know that sOs came from an arguably stronger region here and has performed very well throughout this year, but Polt, as we saw on the screen before, has won 3 major titles in the last couple of months. I have to put him in the top 4 here.
All right. I think that's fair, and I think you're actually right about that. And speaking of the man himself, up in the top left of Belshir Vestige, it is CM Storm's Polt.
And he does go up against Wunging Star's sOs down here. And we'll see what he can do here today.
Well, you know, sOs, I feel like he's still going to take a game or two. And I think that this is definitely a map where he's going to need to take a game or two, like starting on this map, or maybe he won't, you know? If Polt picks up a easy Belshir win, it's like, well, I don't know if these other maps are quite as good for you, sOs.
I think that maybe one advantage that sOs could look to here is his unpredictability, because he does like to change it up from game to game to game. He does change his openers, and maybe he can play mind games with Polt to maybe scare Polt to gain advantages in his openings that could help him fight against such a strong player.
You know, that is true, but Polt is also a player that, like, for instance, you and I just casted Mara, right? And he does a lot of command center first play and stuff, and that can be a little bit more volatile against a player like this, whereas Polt is a player that so often opens Reaper. And in fact, with that 12 gas, it looks like he's opening Reaper this game.
Yeah, and he's going to be able to get a lot of intel from that. So what's the chances of sOs not going Colossus to begin with, Artosis?
I actually prefer his Templar base play, to be frank. I've always been a fan of the way that he does it. He's a player that's willing to use hallucinations or do one Colossus into Templar builds and stuff like that. And I think that that type of play is pretty strong in the current metagame. So I'm not sure that he's going to go Colossus based, even though this map is really good for it.
Yeah, sOs loves his Archons and his Templar play. And we'll see how he's going to shape up against Polt here, as this is well, it will be the last game of the evening here on this stream, as Jaedong versus Deer is being played out on the other one, and we'll be done with 4 players by the end of this evening, and we'll go straight into the semifinals tomorrow.
That's going to be so exciting. Just the semis and finals tomorrow, so a much less packed day of StarCraft, but
yeah, just 3
amazing
games
nonetheless. Yeah. And that best of 7 for the finals, by the way.
Oh, it's going to be
I can't even
crazy.
wait, man.
Absolutely crazy.
Ugh. Well, the first Reaper popping out. The command center has started, as well as this Nexus. Everything very, very standard. Like if you're a Protoss player or a Terran player on the ladder, this is probably something you've seen a billion times.
Does Polt have all 3 in gas at the moment? I don't think he does, right?
Let's take a look.
No, so he's, I mean, usually you'd see with this opening, if he had all 3 in, the follow-up into Factory, which we saw Moro do just now, but with taking out a gas, I think we're going to see Barracks play, but look at this throwing down so early on here on this left-hand door. Not so early on, but...
You know what I think that's going to be is a Stargate. I think he's going to go for one of these delayed Oracle openers, which actually are very strong, especially if not scouted. Oh my god, he almost got that.
Yes, he did osmosis.
Like, you don't kill the initial Reaper with a Mothership Core. It's never happened before. That was the closest it's ever happened at Pro Play.
At Pro Play, I like how you got that in there.
I'm like, well, yeah, I'm sure there's some guy watching. He's like, why did this happen to me today? And it's like, well, no, I mean, this pro-level play that just does not happen.
Well, here is the Stargate down. And this Reaper, well, not just this Reaper, but Polt behind it as well, has absolutely no idea about this. Absolutely no idea that this probe is even out there. And, I mean, if he doesn't know this is out there, there's no reason for him to go scouting. He does not have any clue at all.
That's very true. There's no tell quite yet. And, in fact, with this Stalker out, he's not going to get in the main base again. So,
yeah.
You know,
and it's very rare, I think, for the Reaper to go look around randomly now. Even though it's probably the smartest thing to do, considering that the Reaper's not going to be able to do anything anymore. But I don't think that would happen.
You're right. The Reaper almost always goes to the closest watchtower. This is kind of normal. Normal play here from Polt. But he's going to be caught a bit off guard. And you know what? If an Oracle gets in and if you have no idea the Oracle's coming until your first building sees it, it's going to get at least 3 kills.
Ooh. 3, such a deadly number.
Yeah, and it just goes up from there. Like 3 is like you are quick as hell, and the Protoss maybe didn't do everything right.
Well, let's find out here, because the follow-up has been put down. We do have the Forge, and all the gas has been taken, so SOS will switch his tech. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the Twilight Council come from this.
A lot of Protosses do like to go after the late Oracle into Twilight.
Yeah.
I personally like the Colossus style. I feel like you can get a few Phoenixes to help support that, but with that Stargate way over there, it makes sense that he's not going for that.
All right, is 3 the magic number, or is it more?
Well, he's been a little bit slow to move, and there goes the 3rd one right there. It looks like he will get a few more.
Yeah, that's quite a lot of SCVs going down here. 6 SCVs in total, and that may not be the end of this Oracle.
No, looks like it's going to get maybe 2 more over here. He is going to run out, 3 more, and runs out of energy, basically.
Pushing Polt down to 26 SCVs compared to 40 probes.
That's a pretty sizable lead for SOS at the moment.
Yeah, now the Twilight Council come in as well. You think that he goes over to Blink straight away here, right?
Yeah, I would say for sure going into Blink.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, so Polt has taken quite a hit from this Oracle, and to be honest, the Oracle hasn't been killed, so there may be more SCVs available. He's having a look.
Doesn't quite have the energy yet, so he's just scouting at the moment, which is exactly what you would expect. You know, I really do like this build from SOS, and in fact, if he goes Blink and then even gets charged right afterwards, if he keeps the Oracle alive, it's like the most amazing thing in the world. You just see where the army is, and your army is super, super mobile. And oh my god, he's going charge and actually Templar Archives right away.
Wow, right away there. All right, well, I wasn't really expecting that to come here.
You know, the one thing it does do, Apollo, is if you tag the army with Revelation, or, yeah, it's Revelation, right? The one that tags. I always mix those two up. But if you tag the army with Revelation, you actually just chase them down with your very mobile Zealot Archon army. And, you know, Zealot Archon this quickly always beats in just a straight-up open ground fight the bio, if you micro it correctly.
Ooh. Well, I guess it depends now then. So SOS will be strong on the ground, but will he be able to deal with multiple drops at the same time here?
That is the question. He's already getting a defensive cannon, getting his Psystorm, might have a couple Templars up as well, help with some feedbacks.
Unfortunately, there's no combat shield, though. That does, you know, naturally make his army a little bit weaker than it should be at this point, considering Stim is now done. That's not being researched.
Oh, and actually, hold on here. We have the 3rd Command Center starting even before that. With Charge on the way, the +2 army is going up to 6 gates at the moment. That's kind of strong. I mean,
yeah.
This could spell disaster for Polt.
I mean, I can't believe that he has not got combat shields yet, and now it does just start, but there's absolutely an opportunity here, especially because Polt's moving across the other side of the map. If he walks into this army, loses a chunk of units, there's an absolute possibility for a counterattack, which could end the game here.
All right, well, Polt is out in the middle of the map right now. The Oracle has given him some pretty good vision so far. Just kind of delaying this 3rd base a bit. Some heavy micro there from Polt on a single Marine.
Storm is now done here. That Zealot has stopped the SCV from building that 3rd command center in. SOS is chasing down this army on the left-hand side. He's moving into position. He's got 3 high Templar with Storms. And is Polt going to go up to that high ground? No, he's not, so...
Tags the army. This is actually really nice for him. If you see exactly where that army is, you can maneuver around quite well with this Zealot-based force.
One good storm here. One good storm can change everything.
Yeah.
He still sees that army. He's going up to the high ground here. Here's the High Templar.
Staying just out of position. Oh my god, that storm was pretty good. The second one good as well. Good enough at least. Continue to push forward. And, you know, I don't know that he's going to break Polt right now, but I think at minimum he could cause a cancel at that third.
And yeah, that could be quite big here, considering that the third Nexus is about to complete here for SOS. The robotics facility has come in, +3 armor has started as well. And we are going to see SOS come up this right-hand side flank.
Well, looks like he at least can stop the Oracle over there. Thank you for small favors here. But,
wow.
you know, as you said, Apollo, losing this third base, he's so far behind SOS right now. And SOS is already starting his transition into Colossus.
Yeah, this is a beautifully constructed game from SOS from the very get-go. Nice move there from Polt, does grab one of the High Templar, saves those units, nice pick up into that Medivac. But wow, boy, how far behind is Polt now without this third command center? Hasn't even begun to restart it, only just now. SOS can, I mean, he can sit back, he can harass with this War Prism, he can still be in the middle of the map because of Zealot Charge, that it offers such a strong army. He's in a wonderful position.
In fact, he has to be caught way out of position for Polt to start coming back. Like, Polt needs to get a very nice drop-off, or maybe, you know, feint a strong drop, draw the army to the main, and pick off the third. Something like that, but I don't see that happening from SOS right now. His army is really solid. His upgrades are good. He's got those Templars that are going to be able to warp in very easily, and even some defensive cannons to help slow down Polt.
Nice grab there by Polt to get those two High Templar, forcing them to go into an Archon. And that does get picked off as well here. The Warp Prison's made its way through. There isn't a High Templar in there with 3 Zealots.
Oh, and that... What? Is he gonna... Is he not... Oh, that High Templar looks like it's not actually gonna... Oh, they does, in fact, get out. Well, that's gonna hurt his economy even more. Oh my god, the storm killing off 4 or 5 more SCVs.
Yeah, that parachute wouldn't open, Artosis.
No, that was hard. He had to malfunction for a moment there.
It's okay, they did get out eventually. But look at this, Polt now is starting to defend inside his main base, and he has got quite a few Marauders on this left-hand side, but as long as SOS is not out of position, which currently he is not, he is sitting quite tightly onto that third. I'm finding it really difficult to see Polt to start to equalize this game. He really needs something soon.
I feel like you jump way ahead. You know, if you transition from Charge plus Templar into Colossus without taking any damage, I feel like that is the absolute optimal thing that can ever happen as Protoss against Terran, and that's exactly what we see here.
Well, we do see Polt now moving forward. Has got 2-2 on the way, so he is going to have good upgrades eventually once these complete. But with Colossus, with Storm, how many Vikings do we even have in this game? Just that single one which was defending on the left-hand side.
Well, yeah, that's kind of rough, man. Blink is going to be finishing up. He's already got the +3 armor, which is kind of insane against the 1-1 of his opponent. But 2-2 is on the way for Polt. So, you know, if this game goes longer and longer, maybe he starts crawling back in. But this attack right here, those Colossi, there's just no answer for them right now.
No answer whatsoever, and there's no Ghosts, there's no Vikings, it's just Marine Marauders and Medivacs. There's a lot of them there, so SOS does still need to be careful. These storms will be good. He needs to protect his Colossus because Polt's coming around Artosis. He's actually going to flank this army.
Ooh, that is a huge flank. The side storms are going to have to be amazing here. Oh, that first one really not doing it. The second one missing quite a bit as well. Polt with some amazing and fantastic splitting.
And those two Colossus will begin to be exposed shortly here, and he's moving forwards. He's going to pick off one of the Colossus. The second one's going to go down, and
what am I seeing here? Like, how? That was really well done by Polt.
Wow, and he equalizes up this game, just what he's been hoping for. Beautiful move there.
That he needed that so badly, and he will finally get to land that third base and get it mining, but was that enough, Apollo?
Was it enough? We'll find out here. 144 supply to Polt, over 135, 149 now. It is climbing up for SOS. Polt does have some good upgrades, still without Vikings, still without Ghosts. And he has now decided to load up 3 out of 4 Medivacs, headed towards the main base here.
Well, it looks like he's probably going to fly over the fourth, so he might decide to just go ahead and kill that off. And you know what? If you can keep SOS on 3 bases long enough, that's going to be quite nice as well. Protoss does eventually need to get that 4th base up.
Mineral field depleted.
Well, more units get warped in on this left-hand side here for SOS. Counter-attack towards that natural was defended. Here comes the drop.
And it's a nice little spread out drop there. The Psy Storm does go down, doesn't really deal that much damage, but a big Zealot Orphan looks like this is not really going to do that much damage.
Yeah, these units do get picked up and evacuated, and the Colossus on the left-hand side again. There's a lot of Marauders here. Storms are good, and the Colossus remain alive. With no Vikings, they are going untouched. There is a beautiful spread here from Polt, so he's taking minimal damage from these Colossus, but with the reinforcements coming in here from SOS, he is controlling this wall.
He is indeed. The Marauders start to push everything back, but it looks like SOS just has a little bit too much. And after these fights, he's up by almost 50 supply.
And there's still no answer towards these Colossus.
I don't think he can even switch into Vikings right now. I think it's almost impossible. He just needs to keep up his ground forces, but that's not good enough.
Yeah, and with Blink out, these Stalkers are going to be trying to hunt down the Vikings immediately, and there's a Blink forward. They both get picked off straight away here. And the 3 Colossus untouched, and without an answer towards them. I don't think Polt has an answer towards the overall army that SOS has.
He certainly does not. No Ghosts, no Vikings, GG, and SOS takes the first game, kind of as predicted, on Belshir Vestige. And I do have to say, Apollo, that looked a lot more like SOS at the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year, SOS was playing some of the best PVTs that we had seen up to that point. And here, he showed a lot of strength with a build order that you don't see quite as often. He executed it well. He did a great job.
What do you think will be going through Polt's mind after that game there? Do you reckon he's thinking about that Oracle and how that slipped in?
I think so. I think you have to kind of pinpoint like where it all started to go wrong, because he actually, like when he flanked at that high ground expansion, ended up killing the army. Like imagine if that had happened when he hadn't lost, 11 SCVs in the early game. That could have been a victory for him right there. So I think he has to pinpoint it on the early damage taken. He has to stay calm about it and say, okay, you know what, that happens sometimes. Sometimes you don't catch it. They're going for something like a late Oracle. He just has to put it away, play his best this next game.
Yeah, put that away and really look at the greatest part of that game was the first of all, SOS making mistakes. There are mistakes from SOS. That movement out towards that third base, which allowed Polt to get that surround on. There's definitely glimmers of hope for Polt to come back in this series.
All right, well, down here in the bottom right, winning that first game with great style. It is... Oh, wait, we're in the top left. I'm sorry. Losing that great first game with great style, it is Polt.
You can lose in style. You can fall in style, Autosis.
Look, Polt is always stylish. No question about it.
And down here to the bottom right, winning in style as the Blue Protoss player, it, of course, is SOS.
Very stylish game. No doubt about it.
Absolutely. Stylish players, stylish casters, nice suits.
That's right. You look better than yours. Okay. Akalon Waste. What do you think for this map?
I'm expecting Polt or SOS. Who are we going to talk about?
Let's talk about SOS.
Okay. I'm not too sure what to expect from SOS. I think he's going to play a regular standard game, but I still think it's going to be Templar, Twilight Council tech focused. I really don't see him as a player that opens up Colossus first, almost ever.
Yeah, it's quite rare that he does that. He really does favor Templar play. So for Polt, what would you say? What does he need to do here?
I think that he needs to not take damage early on, because I think that was the big difference in game number 1, that he was playing from a deficit, and I feel that Polt's such a good player. If it's equal terms, as long as nothing is dealt to him earlier on, and he gets to that, let's say, 10-minute mark, where he can get his units out and start controlling the game, that's where Polt's going to find where he wants to be.
I'm always really impressed with a player like Polt or a player like Maru, where when they do get a certain amount of units out, as you're saying here, when they do get to the middle game, just how effective they are with those units. And I have to agree with you. If he can get into that area without taking any damage, I think SOS is going to be really hard-pressed to stop him, especially because he likes to open with that Templar tech, where, Templar tech, it's not as vulnerable to, let's say, an SCV pull. But the first pushes are going to be the scariest.
Where's that probe going?
Oh, Autosis, we're going to see a Stargate again.
All right. I'm ready for it. I'm excited about it. And, you know, this is... It's a command center first into a couple Raxes. I'm sure the third will be going up. So, you know what? It's not like he has a Reaper that's going to hop up there. And he did kind of hide a pylon on the side of the base, which I like as well. Because this is a very quick 3 pylons.
Yeah.
It's going to trick Polt out, because Polt's going to be like, where's the other pylon? Where's the other pylon? Where's the other pylon? And then, oh, he didn't see it. SOS wanted him to see that pylon. This is actually so funny, because by putting it over there, you make him look for it a little bit more, and, like, his heart rate goes up, then it goes down. You know what I mean? That's too bad for SOS that Polt didn't see that pylon.
Sometimes you can be smarter than your opponent.
Yeah, sometimes you're like 2 levels above.
And that's what I think happened here, Autosis.
Yeah, and now he's like, well, there must be something out there. SOS overmade pylons, like, to trick Polt, but Polt didn't scout the edge of his base. Oh my god. Things like this happen sometimes.
But I mean, at least the Nexus is down very fast in this game, so Polt may overreact to this. Knowing that there's some form of tech out there, if he's overly defensive, with this Nexus down so fast, it's not like we need critical damage to command here by SOS. Yeah, that is very true. God, I mean, he's building the bunker next to the command center. I think he's fine. You know, I don't imagine we're going to see much damage from this Oracle. Oh, he cancelled it.
Maybe.
Upon seeing the Nexus come down here, he's cancelled it there.
Well, maybe he's going to go over to the side this time all the way. And see that pylon, maybe be like, oh, I just missed the pylon before. But actually, he still only sees 1 pylon, right? So
where are the Marines now? The Marines are moving down to the natural, I think. I can see on the minimap.
All right, so this is that quick pull we were talking about. Might get just 3 kills this time. There's 1. He actually should have gotten 2 already.
Yeah, there's 2.
And that would have been 3. And he gets out of there. He misfired once. Should have been 3.
So 28 probes here to 24 probes. I mean, 28 probes to 24 SCVs and mules. Double Forge coming in here. SOS really changing it up again.
Double Forge, what do you think about this here?
I like Double Forge. I mean, maybe not in this circumstance, but I like it overall.
Really?
And the reason why I don't like it in this circumstance is I don't think he's dealt enough damage to have slowed Polt down to make this, or at least to give SOS the time to be safe completely.
Well, what splash damage is he going to go for off this, do you think?
I don't think he will go splash damage for quite a while.
Just maybe get out of the Twilight for some charge or blink?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, you know, I think that's probably the smartest way to go about it. He's going to be very tight on his gas overall. But I have to agree with you. I don't really like it in this situation as much. But look at this cute move. Hallucinations, man. This is how SOS made his name at the beginning of the year.
There isn't an engineering bay. There aren't turrets down. So if the Marines chase the duck,
quack, quack,
then the real one could come in, Autosis.
Did you call it a duck because you think it looks like a duck?
Yeah. And in honor of Duck Duck. Does it work? Is this a beautiful move from him?
Nah, not really. Not that many kills.
SOS is on a different level with intelligence, man.
No, he's actually outsmarting himself a little bit. But you know what? You got a mule there. That's pretty good. Hey, as long as it's still alive, like, you're not... Especially if you make the Nexus first before the Stargate. This time, of course, he didn't. But as long as that thing is still alive, the Oracle, you gain value out of it basically all game.
What do you think about the double Twilight Council for blink and charge at the same time?
I love moves like this.
Yeah?
I actually absolutely love moves like this. I think it's so cool, but I'm taking a look at his production, at his gas. I don't know that getting Blink right now is, like, getting both at the same time. I don't know that that's really as reasonable. His probe count, 48. No, that's solid. I like it, though. What do you think?
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it, actually. I prefer just getting one and then the other. I don't think you need to rush out both.
Yeah, if he had some more units, like let's say that he had opened with gateway pressure, and he had a lot of units right now, I would absolutely love it.
I mean, he doesn't even have any stalkers, so I don't think
that might have been a mistake in getting both.
Yeah, I've definitely seen players do this though before.
Yeah.
Absolutely seen players do this, but he does have double, as you can see, and he sees it too.
Oops. I go over and pat him on the back. I'm like, yeah, we say it. It's fine.
It's like you take the lid off your pad and like throw it at the back of his head because he's so close.
But no, I mean it's a cool move when it's intentional and when they actually do it like after a gateway pressure, but not the case here. Thing is, he is going to have 2-2. And when he gets to 2-2 plus charge, plus having his tempo archives up, that's like...
That is scary.
Polt's just finishing 1-1. That's gross. He's actually going to be at 2-2.
Is he just finishing 1-1 or is it just 1? It's just 1.
It's just 1.
Oh.
Right?
Just +1 attack.
Yeah.
Wow. 2-2 versus +1 attack. I don't... If he chrono boosts completely into that, I think he can get there before +1 armor. If he wants to launch an attack.
Oh, he absolutely can.
So
if he lines up into 2-2 timing, you better have so many bunkers.
Well, how many gateways is he at now? 4 with 2 more coming in, 6. Not the highest amount, but his army just, no matter what, is just incredibly strong.
You know, when you're up 3 upgrades, like 2 upgrades is amazing. 1 is really good, 2 is amazing. When you're up 3 or more, normally you don't get up more than 3. Like, that is the maximum. You're like, whoa, this is game-changing right here. Oh, I don't want him to engage right before 2-2 is done, though. That's normally an anti-timing. But he's tagged the army, and he wants to. He's going after it. Nice micro here from Polt, lifting up behind the force fields. What do you think about that engagement?
I think he wasted a lot of his oomph.
Yes.
That could have been in the actual attack if that was what he was looking to do.
You know, I think he got too excited about having put that revelation on the army. He's like, well, I'm going to go get that army. And then reinforcements came, and he's sad now.
Well, if there aren't any bunkers here, I mean, I'm not too sure how many units are on the high ground here for Polt, but still, SOS does have a very strong army. There comes the wall off to help him.
2-2 is done.
That's a lot. That's a massive upgrade advantage.
It is indeed, and that +1 armor not done yet. In fact, the Wallen not done yet, so he does get by, but will run away. More than enough units from Polt to be able to stop that.
Yeah, I think SOS has to throw this 3rd down now. He's actually just warped in 4 more high tempo, so I'm imagining 2 Archons here, 3 Archons.
It looks like it.
That's, I mean, well, 3 more Archons with a 4th one. That's a lot. That's actually very strong.
Well, it looks like he was kind of planning on taking another base while keeping the pressure on because of where he chose to do it. Has broken through those rocks now, and hey, you know what? He's going to be able to at least kill off a lot of SCVs.
He's not going to be able to get that command center. 2 force fields do come down to lock this in, but Polt's units are on the other side of this. More zealots being warped in. Do you think that he needs 4 high tempo like this for feedbacks, or should they be just a couple? I think 4 is a little bit excessive. Yeah,
I think 2 would have been completely fine there with another Archon to help him out, but you know what? Feedback is just really nice in a situation like this. It's kind of like splash damage because they just cannot heal as well.
All right, well, SOS is building up this big 2-2 army. Polt did manage to get that +1 armor, so he is at 1-1. But SOS still with 2 upgrade advantage here, and he is going to march forward. He is going to break the high ground here. And is this army good enough for SOS? He's got the upgrade lead, but does he have what it takes to push Polt back?
You know what? I wish he had a Mothership Core with this army.
Yeah.
He could have done so much more with a single time warp. Could have changed this entire game around. And even though he is ahead on supply and still ahead on upgrades, and he is taking his 3rd, and he has done economical damage, like that would have been so much better with the time warp.
Yeah, I completely agree. And as we can see, SOS has not really managed to break Polt here, so I think that he should fall back and just get his 3-3 and then have a look at going again at 3-3. But for now, he is still out on the map, though. Of course, he still has a very strong map presence with this army size and quality.
And let's not forget, if he actually gets into an engagement, he does have that Oracle floating behind the Natural, so he can run in there and do a little bit more damage.
Well, Storm is on its way now, but this army from Polt, every second that ticks by, is becoming more stronger, so SOS doesn't want to dance with the devil too much longer.
Oh, looks like he's going to start to walk home. 3rd base, still going up. The Oracle only with 12 kills. Well, I guess, 12 kills is really nice, but it's sitting there at full energy against like a peon line that has no defense. Imagine if he had sent that in during some of that micro.
Could be double, man. Could be 24 kills.
Yeah, could be 36 kills even.
It could even be 41.
No, that is, well, I don't
Maybe not 41. 41's a little bit too far.
Yeah.
Sorry,
he would have figured out by then.
All right, well, Zealots are charging forward here, getting a lot of hits on these Marauders. 4, 5, 6 of them do get slaughtered immediately. It looks like that Oracle did poke in for a second there, but 3-3 more importantly is on its way now for SOS. But oh, a big drop from Polt headed towards the main. There is a feedback ready.
Wow, some big side storms going down, really softening up that Marauder ball. These medevacs, they've taken a lot as well, but here we go, a big drop from Polt in the main base of SOS. It looks like he gets a High Templar before it can cast any spells, and Polt looks like he's being overrun a bit. It's kind of a base trade scenario, though.
This is a base trade scenario here, but I think I have to favor SOS. He's broken the natural, he's broken the main.
And he can just warp in a few High Templars like at his third base, and they'll be ready with storms. So I do not foresee Polt being able to win this one.
Yeah, this is a difficult one. I mean, I guess Polt can stop 3-3, but everything's getting beaten up inside this main base. 2-2 not yet done for Polt. And he's turning off all the gateways, though.
Oh my god, that's actually really big. There's only 3 High Templars out on the map right now. So I don't think he actually warped in that many at home.
Well, this has become a little bit interesting. Oh, okay, so he's got a couple on that natural.
Yeah, his natural is like really well defended. I don't see that being broken.
Yeah, cannon's even been made to help defend this. And the SCV line's just been completely slaughtered. One great storm, a second good one as well there from SOS. And he says, I don't need to camp and defend my natural. I can probably come and defend my main.
Yeah, there's just no energy left on these medevacs. He's trying to stem back and defend, kind of cleaning it up at home. But has enough damage been dealt?
5 SCVs remain.
Ooh, that's not very many SCVs, is it?
Not many at all. It's less than 6.
I mean, we can make as many jokes about mules as we want, but they are not going to be enough here.
And Oracle's at 24.
Oh, there he is. We were
There's
talking about 24. Yeah.
Can it get to 36?
No, I don't think so. I think it's going to max 30 maximum this game for him. But you know what? That Oracle, what a big difference that is. 12 more kills since that battle started, and 12 more SCVs for Polt, and we're talking about this being a much closer game than what it is right now.
Well, the army supply, though, Artos, is 74-29 right now for Polt. SOS has the money income, but he needs his gateways back. He lost so many inside the main base. He needs an army with the money that he's got in the bank.
That is true, but there's not a lot of energy on medevacs, and he has High Templars against a player that has no EMP and just no Ghost flat out. So I'm still kind of feeling like he can put up this defense, I think.
High Templars are ready to go. The Nexus is under fire, and SOS wants to come to defend it.
Well, a nice storm there on Polt's army. He does run it away. Ooh, picks off that Nexus. Very good job. And the storm goes down on those medevacs. Not really doing that much, though.
27.
Yeah.
It's getting closer to 36 and 41.
It's not going to hit 41, I guarantee that.
Come on, man.
It's not going to happen, Paul. I'm sorry. You can dream all you want about fancy oracles. No. All right, where state do you put this game in? Where is this game at in your mind?
I think the Polt's winning this game right now, but not for much longer.
Yeah.
Not for much longer. The gateways, there's more and more coming in. We've got +3 armor on the way again. I think that SOS is going to get very strong in the near future. I mean, there's 17 SCVs. He's starting to bring them back into play again.
He has 10 High Templars, and the amount of storm that you can get out of 10 High Templars is just absolutely phenomenal. Big pickup and drop here while Polt hits the front as well. Going after that Nexus. Could he possibly kill it? That would be insane.
Well, these Marauders are behind the mirror lines, so it looks like yes.
Oh my god. How many Nexuses does this leave SOS?
Uh-oh.
0.
He has to cancel that upgrade if he wants to rebuild that Nexus there. He just doesn't have enough money.
Oh my god. Polt needs to go home and turtle at this moment. He cancels, he makes the Nexus, he's not mining. Polt just needs to defend.
48 army supply for SOS, 73 for Polt. But as you keep describing, there's 8 High Templar out.
The storms are going to be just phenomenal, and I don't think that there's any bunkers for him to hide in. Yeah, there's not a single bunker on the map right now.
SOS get a 2-0 lead over here with Polt. High Templars through Storm very well there, a second and third.
Ooh, even Storm's covering retreat pads, really nice Storms. Does he have enough beef in his army to get through it? Looks like he probably does, orphing even more Archons. But great micro here from Polt, taking out every Zealot.
Oh, and a couple of Zealots do make the way to the mineral line there. Archons get some great hits there. Medivacs and Marines Marauders go down. Does Polt have enough left at home? SOS has taken an army supply lead here. It's a lot of Archons with no ghosts. Army supply 34-24 now in favor of Polt just a little bit.
Do you attack with these Archons, Apollo? His army is so funny right now. His army is 5 Archons, 1 Sentry, 1 Mothership Core.
22 Marines.
God, you know, if he had like 1 High Templar with those Archons, I'm like, yeah, just go. Just go. But I think he does need to go in a second. Let them charge up shields a little bit, get a couple storms, and move out again, because waiting that long for 1 Nexus when you know Polt has a couple mining command centers at least with mules.
Polt has actually more than double the income at this moment. More than double the income, as you can see there on screen. 700 roughly for SOS, almost 1,400 here for Polt. Polt without the tools to fight against Archons, but he's going to go for sheer numbers.
Well, let's see here. Polt's starting to micro heavily. He needs to gain some value out of these units. Some good Psy Storms going down. The Archons, he's got to be careful to keep the damaged ones in back. Any Archons that get picked off right now, that's just adding towards Polt's victory.
Can he beat this many Archons though if he takes a fight soon, a heads-up fight? It's a lot of
I think heads up he cannot. He needs to just micro like a madman, just like this. Just kite, run out of there.
Oh, good decision for this drop here, I think.
Even picking off a pile at this point hurts when you're sitting on one base this late into the game. We're 25 minutes in, and SOS has one mining base.
Oh, nice micro with these Archons.
Indeed it is, pulling those back. In the meantime, Zealot in the main base of Polt. Uh-oh, getting both medevacs, all those units dying off. Really nice by SOS.
Yeah, really nice micro with these Archons. Keeping them alive, shields will regenerate here.
What if this game just recovers completely and like
goes on for another 20 minutes?
we like get back into Colossus Tech and there's Vikings and stuff, like, oh my god, that would be crazy.
This game has been quite wild so far.
I tell you, we're getting some really nice TVPs here today.
Yes,
I guess this is
are.
BlizzCon, we deserve it. We've been good all year.
We've been good all year. This is our Christmas.
Yeah. No cold games here.
No cold games at all.
All right.
Two medevacs here moving forward with quite a few units here, but there are storms. Another drop has been set up here by Polt.
I do have to say, I need to see a Time Warp pretty soon here, Apollo. Like, if you have a Time Warp with Archons and or Psy Storm, it's just absolutely phenomenal, but SOS has not been up to that task.
Where is the Mothership Core now?
He has it.
Yeah.
There it is.
That's there.
Like,
200
you think,
energy.
You know what? I think that he's like so busy he's not even thinking about it, and it's not in one of his hotkeys, so he's just like,
yeah.
He might even be wondering where is it, and just doesn't have like grab all units bound or something, you know?
Oh, some good storms there by SOS, and that may trigger maybe a response attack here. He's got Zealots into the middle line once again here.
Oh, that is so painful for Polt. He has to continue to clean this up, sending some more units back home, but a lot of mules being taken out. And again, you know what? All of these little moves that we're seeing from SOS, he needs that Mothership Core to come into play. And we actually have another big drop from Polt in the main. And this is exactly the type of thing he needs to do to keep up.
And a big attack on the third as well. The Cyber Core is down. The third is getting defended though. The Photon Overcharge has been activated, but oh, this goes down. The Medivacs though are gonna get eliminated. And that was a big trade-off there, Polt.
It certainly was. He still has some units in the main base, but that should be able to be cleaned up pretty soon. More units actually rallying down right now against these Archons, but yeah, that is not a big enough army to really kill off any Archons.
And this game continues on again as Polt just stimming around, picking off the Cybernetics Core. The Templar Archives is down as well.
That's a big pick off the Templar Archives. Because like right now, what can he build? Only Zealots?
Yep.
And he has a lot of gas, actually. He has enough gas for another Archon and another High Templar.
10 Marines per cycle right now for Polt. He is increasing that army size, but the Archons are on the other side of the map now. And I guess this game may be drawing towards an end here.
It looks like it. This is going to have to be decided one way or another. The production of SOS being taken out.
And
right, that many Archons
are enough, but there's a lot of High Templar as well. That ramp's going to be blanketed in storms.
All right, does he sit back and kill this command center? Looks like he's going to try it. I'm not sure if he's actually going to get it. They don't have the greatest range, those Archons.
Hallucinated Phoenix having a look up there on the high ground. The scan goes down, Archons and Storms. Is this it? Is this where SOS can claim this game?
It might be. That is a lot of Marines in this unit composition. The Storms do go off. It looks like that's it for Storms. But I don't think this is enough. 3 Archons, and Polt can out-micro this.
Oh, Polt does out-micro this, and he defeats all the Archons here. And there's still a drop going on.
68 supply with 49 and 30-minute mark, Apollo.
This has been such a crazy back-and-forth game here. And Polt up 67 supply to 49. He did have that command center burned down, I think. I can't see it on the minimap at this moment, and it's not there.
I feel like Polt is Santa Claus right now. He's pulled this game out of his magic bag and given it to us as a gift.
I did write a letter to Polt earlier this year.
Well, Christmas is in like a month, man, so I'm not sure you should have written it earlier this year. Well, it looks like this is it. 20, 25 less supply. Like, SOS has nothing left, man. Polt has done this. This has been a fantastic victory. GG. Polt, like, seriously, pulled that out of nowhere.
Yeah,
like, that was
some good StarCraft.
that flank with all those Marines against all the Psystorm and Archon. When I saw how much Psystorm and Archon that was against that many Marines, I'm like, I think this actually goes to SOS. But the flanking was so good, the spreading was so good, and he somehow did it. He pulled it out.
Who do you think's playing better in this series so far, if you were to say, or is it too difficult to say?
I think they're both just playing fantastically. I think that you can't say one player is playing better than the other. I feel like what SOS is doing, he's showing me, he's like, okay, I can still play PvT as well as I did at the beginning of the year. I think Polt is maybe impressing me a little bit more, like what he's pulling out here today.
All right, so here we do move on to map number 3 then, and it's going to be on Frost, so a bigger map out of the games that we've played on so far. The series is tied up 1-1. Who now is going to try and get that lead in this series, get that second victory under their belt? As all these players have been playing for a long time today so far.
That's right, it has been a long day for everyone, including this man down here in the bottom right. It is CM Storm's Polt.
And up here is, of course, none other than SOS.
All right. Okay, Frost, TVP. After the games we saw, what do you think?
I think that we'll see Command Center first here from Polt. It's almost the norm here on a map this big. But with SOS, I'm not too sure what to expect. He is unpredictable. He is hard to read. I have no idea, actually, what SOS can do or will do.
It's actually, I have to agree with you on this, Paul. I feel like this is a really hard one to predict what he's going to go for. I wouldn't be surprised if it is, again, something like maybe expand into Blink. You know, it's just with a map this big, I really like builds like that, whether you get super aggressive with it or not.
Yeah.
I love quick blink and charge on a map like this.
But we do have a Barracks come down and not a Command Center first, which is an expected build here for Polt. And he is going to go ahead and take a Refinery, so it is going to be a Reaper opening here.
You know what? It's a good choice. Going for Reaper on such a big map against someone that, as you said, you're like, well, I'm not sure what SOS is going to do. I think Polt was asking himself the same question and had no answer. And when you have no answer, Reaper's pretty solid.
I mean, 2 games out of 2 so far, SOS has opened up, you know, aggressive. He's proxied Stargates. He's built them, you know, in the middle of the map.
And the way this probe is walking, Apollo.
Gonna have another one auto assist.
Okay, so yeah, this is pretty funny. So he's proxying down here. You think it's a Stargate? I do, for sure.
Yes, I do.
I'd be really surprised if it was anything else.
It's like another gateway. I'm like, oh.
Like, what is this? All right, so right now we do have the Scout coming out. A Reaper on the way. Is he going to be able to figure this out?
Well, a Reaper isn't a Marine. And it is harder to defend against this Oracle here, especially because I think the Reactor is, you know, the most usual follow-up to this.
Oh, for sure. I would be very surprised if Polt doesn't throw down a Reactor exactly when this Reaper's done.
All right, well, let's see how successful this can be. Polt has not scouted, you know, first of all, especially because, of course, his opponent's cross position here. The Stargate is down. The Reaper is going the other way.
Do you like the riskiness of where he's put this? Like, he's given himself a 66% chance to be close.
Yeah, man.
He's shaking his head, yes, guys.
Well, he's guessed right.
Yeah. I mean, he stacked it in his favor. And the Oracle will actually still be okay against him being in the top right. So it's not like some craziness. It's just, it's kind of a funny way to do things.
Alright, well, this probe is in there trying to slow down this SCV from building that barracks. And he's getting quite a good few hits off.
Yeah, and you know what? Even damaging SCVs at all, that's going to make that one hit for the Oracle, which is always nice as well.
The Reaper saw the lack of expansion here. And at, you know, 4 minutes 30 plus, well, 4:45 I suppose that Reaper looked in, should be seeing an expansion by now, if it was a decently timed one. So something isn't right here in Polt's mind.
Is he going to throw up a bunker, though? He's adding some Raxes. You know, he does have that reactor out, so he's making a decent amount of Marines at the moment. Is he just going to throw down a tech lab on that right away, or is he going to produce extra Marines? Well, here comes the Oracle Apollo, and he is throwing down that tech lab, so even though he has some quick moving, these Marines are going to be taken out.
Yeah, and that's there's not many units here at all, actually. And the Oracle's done quite a bit of damage. Got 4 kills under its belt already. Energy is running low, but that's a good start here for SOS. As you can look at the supply differences, 36 to 28, and just like game number 1, gets a nice start.
That's a really good start. You know, killing off a couple Marines and a few SCVs, very, very solid. His Nexus is a little bit late, but that's completely fine. And he's even going straight into double Forge here again, just like we saw before. This is basically the same build as Akalon.
Yeah, I like this here. I like the double Forge. A nice big map like this. And I think that it did have, I think it looked kind of good on Akalon. There was just a lot of other things that came into, there were other variables, really.
Yeah, and you know what? Going for the quick charge again, having the Oracle out to tag the army. This is such a big map that a really strong composition that's quick to move like that. I just really like all these choices that we're seeing. Oh my god.
Oh. Did he see both the Forges anyway?
I think he did, yeah. Let's see.
Our SCVs
Yes, he
are
did.
under attack.
Oh. Well, those 3 force fields were a little bit wasted.
This Oracle is pretty fantastic, by the way. 10 kills now.
Yeah, he's got 6 SCV kills.
That's a pretty big deal.
I mean, his Oracle usage so far in these 3 games have been pretty damn impressive. He continues to do damage, he keeps it alive, and oh boy, look at that as well. A 3rd Nexus in the top right, that can't be expected here from Polt. You'll have no idea about that. SOS pulling up all the stops here to a certain degree, Autosis.
Well, all right, so I love this, first off. I just have to throw this out here. I think this move is so good on such a big map. Hold on, we do have an Oracle coming in. Looks like it's just doing more scouting than anything else. But, okay, I love this, though, Apollo, because, again, you said it's not going to be expected at all. It's so far out of the way on such a big map. This is like an old Brood War strat, where it's like, well, this map is so big, there's going to be a ton of action. He's going to be microing like mad to try to catch up. No way he's scouting this.
And especially because Polt saw the double Forge. You don't go double Forge and then take a 3rd base somewhere
that's crazy.
else.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
No one would ever do that. But
Apart from
SOS
SOS.
is. Yeah. It's such a good move, man. Like, if Polt wins this game, like, I have so much respect for Polt, but if he wins this game, it's going through the roof.
We'll blow the roof.
Yeah. You think that crowd is loud out there, Apollo?
No.
Wait till you hear me if Polt wins this game. SOS is taking all the right risks. That's the latest. That's the latest warp gate ever. Thank you, Infeza. But he's taking all the right risks, man, and they're working perfectly in his favor.
This is, I mean, Polt is just up against it here, and unfortunately, has no idea he is. I mean, there's nothing he can do to stop it because he doesn't know what's going on. He does have his 3rd command center to finish, but look at the +1 attack timing. So slow.
Yeah, it's going to be
this.
another one of those 2-2 against 1-0.
Yeah, and then 3-3 versus 1-1. I mean, could happen here.
It could. And on top of all that, he's on 3 base, not 2. So, God, the gateway explosion is going to come. His army's going to be so large that, you know, Polt may be able to stay alive technically behind a bunker and depot wall, maybe. But seriously, that's the best he can hope for, is staying alive.
This is so smartly, played out here by SOS. It's going to give him such a big advantage. You don't see it yet in the numbers, 89 supply to 85, but just you wait.
Well, SOS has been so ridiculously greedy. You open Stargate into double Forge into a 3rd Nexus. It's going to take you a while to get ahead in supply, but you will get ahead in supply. Unless Polt's amazing.
Unless you get supply blocked a lot.
I guess. That's one way to do it.
Alright, well, 2-2 now, not too far away from finishing, as Polt moves forward for the first time here, and he has units on the expected 3rd base locations. And to be honest, he's probably thinking, kind of highly of himself in this game, thinking, alright, well, he hasn't got a 3rd base yet, I've got my 3rd on the way, I guess I'll get my 2nd engineering bay and armory, but little does he know, this is completely completely the opposite of what he's thinking.
Dude, that 2-2 is finishing even before the 1-1. Oh my god, he's been so on top of those chrono boosts.
Well, there is a Marine and SCV or something making its way around. I mean, actually, look at the minimap. There's units moving all over the place here. And he is going to spot this Autosis.
Wow. Well, he's going to spot it, but that's not going to be able to kill it. You know, this is where SOS can just get a little bit more aggressive, because even though he's down in supply right now. Oh. Wait, is he not going to scout it?
I think he saw it. Well, he saw the Zealot.
He didn't see it.
Oh, well, that's insane.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. All right, here we go. Some force fields going down. Zealot's coming in from a flank from the other side. Some good feedbacks, but he doesn't quite have the attack or the hit points here.
Yeah, those two Archons got picked off there, but it is 2-2 versus just +1 attack, and Zealots are in the mineral, and that's going to slow Polt down, and we have 3-3 on the way, and now a new third, quote-unquote, that has been made here for SOS, or should we say fourth in this game. The robotics base switches up. The longer this game goes, the worse this is going to get for Polt.
Yeah, poor Polt, man. He's like really been bamboozled this game. I think that's the appropriate word. And with Colossus Tech and Storm Tech coming at the same time, even an Immortal being made, 3-3 being researched, SOS gets to do everything at once now because of that hidden base.
All right, well, 3-3 now, halfway from being completed, and that is going to be a very, very powerful set of units that SOS has ready.
All right, Polt moving up the side of the map. Looks like he's going to do a little patrol over there. If he catches that Nexus, that can be really nice for him.
Well, he's going to find that pylon, and doesn't have any units going up to the top right yet, but look at this, SOS marching to the right-hand side here with a bunch of Zealots. 3-3 not quite done. He still is at 2-2 versus just +1 attack.
Well, we do have +1 armor just about to finish, and finally he finds it, and this is where you become very sad. He's going to click on those minerals and be like, oh.
Oh, that's a lot of resources been mined. And well, SOS still hasn't really exploded in his supply, but when 3-3 is done, this is such an advantage, for any fight that he takes from this position.
All right, so here you are. You're Polt. You just scouted this. You do have your third base up. Your upgrades are kind of coming along. What's your plan?
Get irrational.
Get irrational.
Go crazy, man. You have to start. You have to do something. You have to stop this base to the top right. You have to. You know you're playing from behind, so you need to find a way to get back into this game properly.
Well, he's decided to send a little detachment up to try to take care of this. With only a couple cannons and a handful of Zealots, he will be able to do so. Oh, that's a really good size storm. Polt was not expecting that. Wasn't even looking at his units for a moment, but still, it doesn't matter if they're red or green. These Marauders should be able to take out this base.
Well, Colossus gets picked off very easily there in the center, but it is now 3-3. And the Zealots are going to stop this from getting picked off that base, so it is still 4 versus 3.
Well, you know, that's what can happen. You have those 3-3 upgrades warping the Zealots. Now Polt starting to run away. Map control starting to go over to SOS, who is right now chrono boosting out his Colossi, even getting his plasma shields because he has those 3-3 upgrades.
And Polt sending 2 medivacs to the top right here. And he is going to try and destroy this Nexus. But SOS, 179 supply at 186. I mean, does SOS look for an attack soon?
I think so, yeah. Like, with upgrades like this, you want to hit some sort of actual offensive, which he just hasn't been able to do quite yet. Polt's just been doing a great job, and in fact, Polt continuing to hit up here, but luckily some Psy Storms plus the supporting cannons and Zealots hold him back.
All right, well, here comes a pylon in the middle of the map. This could be the time that SOS decides to move forward here, as a Zealot prevents that 4 from being taken. SOS does try to get a bit of damage done. As we can see, he did get quite a bit of damage done to this army.
All right, now
will he pounce?
You know, Polt is doing such a fantastic job despite the hand he's been dealt this game with build orders.
Yeah.
He's going to go ahead and drop over here. You know, shouldn't do too much damage, but even taking out a pylon, delaying some mining time is nice. The thing is, SOS is getting more and more aggressive.
He's getting more and more aggressive here, and he marches forwards, and this is going to be the attack that SOS has been building up to for a long time in this game. 2 High Templar looking to find themselves a good couple of storms. 2 Colossus there at the back are going to help out a bunch here.
Yeah, those Colossi just going to town on all these units, and it looks like he does have enough units for now to really push Polt back. I feel like Polt has to run right now or he's going to lose every unit.
And he does sprint away, and it looks like SOS is defending at the north, but Polt does pick up and will go into the main base and continues his attack here. But SOS is still trailing in supply. Polt has another attack on the other side towards the natural, including the main, that does get cleaned up now though. But on the natural, Polt dropping furiously across the other side.
Polt is doing a great job right now of trying to pick him apart when he's across the map. In fact, SOS walking all the way home. He's going to lose that Robo, and that's really going to slow down his Colossi count. He's only got 2 right now.
I'm so impressed with Polt in this game, Artosis, and I can't wait for you to make those noises you promised me earlier if Polt was to win this.
I would love to make those noises, but my voice is dying out because I've been commentating all day, and I want to commentate tomorrow, so.
Wow!
My voice actually broke while I did that. Oh my god. Long day of commentating.
Well, SOS now starting to lose that upgrade advantage. His +3 attack's about to finish here for Polt, and +3 armor is on its way.
This is a pretty damn scary army coming out, though. He's making a lot of Archons. He has a lot of High Templars in here. And he does still have the 2 Colossi. And with +3 attack, they're pretty scary.
So impressed with Polt. I can't believe that SOS was able to keep that 3rd base hidden for so long, and Polt was able to just stay in this game, prevent all the attacks, continue to drop, and is leading in supply at this moment.
You know, he's kind of been a little bit up in supply for a big chunk of the game, in fact. It's really impressive. SOS just has never been able to really hit his stride with macro, despite having the cheat economy.
The cheat economy, he did. He did cheat in this game with his economy. And Polt never knew about it, unfortunately, and still hasn't really been able to do anything about it here. As we do see a 5th base now being taken for SOS. We're about to finish up.
These two are like so evenly matched, Apollo. They're just all over the place. All these games so far have been really quite fantastic.
Now, this has been a very good series, and the same can be said for the one prior to this as well, with Duck playing against Morrow Prime, but another good defense up here by SOS. A couple of Storms do come down, a 3rd one right in the middle of those units, and continued Zealot Warpins here as SOS continues to hold on, but the real fight is in the middle of the map right now as SOS gets ready to launch another assault. There is a Planetary Fortress in here, which is going to take a lot of damage and tank a lot of damage here for Polt.
Really well placed planetary right there. Some EMPs going down. A lot of Archons. He's got to be careful about those EMPs. Still trying to save this base up to the top right. This army is so scary for SOS.
Yeah, there's so many Archons he's got in there.
That planetary is the only thing keeping Polt in there.
Well, how long is it going to stay there? For a long time, apparently, as those SCVs continue to repair it. A couple of good EMPs do go down on this army. And that Ghost gets Storm and a couple of feedbacks before getting picked off.
And he saves this base once again. A lot of units lost warping in up there, though.
And SOS continuing forward here with his army, really posturing outside Polt space, waiting for the right opportunity, but this planetary is in a beautiful position. More snipes from Polt.
It's so hard for him to even take that out right now, and every time he goes in, he's taking the worst of it.
Oh, good blink forward there. It's going to pick off quite a few of these Vikings, and that means these Colossus are going to have a longer time surviving, and of course dealing out more damage here. A couple more feedbacks do come down from SOS.
Polt stimming, running forward for a moment in a great arc indeed. Stops as soon as the arc wasn't going to be as good. Really great control here from Polt. He's just so calm.
Yeah, SOS is really wearing it down though. He's poking in there, dealing a lot of damage, backing off without really losing too much of his own.
You know, this is very nice micro from him. In and out, utilizing the range of those Colossi, utilizing the huge amounts of damage Archons put out with every shot. And in fact, look at that. Ooh, a good engagement there for SOS.
Yeah, really good army control here by SOS. 184 supply to 150. Polt has been worn down a little bit here. And with continued reinforcements, and also the scary part where SOS is making a lot of money across these 5 bases, he's going to be able to continue to reinforce this and hammering down into Polt, who is running up in resources. He is running dry. And a massive warping of only Stalkers. He's cleaning up the Vikings, and these Colossus still remain alive.
Oh man, and these Stalkers, you know, when these unit counts get really, really low, their Blink Micro is really going to help out. In fact, he might be able to start picking off some of these medevacs pretty soon. I think SOS is finally breaking through Polt after all this time.
SOS started off today against Liquid Hero, was able to win 3 games to 1, and is now playing a good series here against Polt, who is running low in supply. He is down 120 supply at the moment, with SOS continuing to reinforce. The Stalkers bring down the Vikings, and there's another Colossus still remaining within this army. And Polt dropping almost below the 3 digits.
Yeah, Polt still trying to hold on at this planetary. I don't think that it is actually possible at this point. Just the economy of this Protoss player is off the hook. Polt, on the other hand, he has to repair so much he can't even mine.
Yeah, he's not mining too much at all here, and the income right now in favor of SOS, 1,800 to 1,300 roughly here and there. And more units get warped in. Currently there are 10 gateways.
They're within 46 resources lost of each other right now.
Oh.
Over 27,000 each, which goes to show how cost efficient Polt has been, considering, you know, having that extra base this whole time. It's just wild.
And this army continues to grow stronger and stronger for SOS. Polt has managed to expand towards the north though, and is moving to another expansion as well. So not all hope is lost yet for Captain America here as he fights up against SOS, but SOS is going to come down and this planetary fortress will get picked off. This is going to be very hard to stop.
Yeah, it looks like he should be able to kill that. And in fact, Polt moving somewhere else with his army, not coming down for any sort of flank or anything. Moving up through the map. Kind of a podunk army, though.
And so many Archons here, Autosis. No ghosts. Nothing really to EMP onto these. And another storm will land onto that army.
And the crowd is going wild. I wonder what for, Apollo. I'm so sad. You know what? Polt has done a fantastic job this game, and he's continuing to put on some pressure, but he's down to just the remnants of his army, the remnants of his economy, and I think there's no way. A big bank still remains for SOS. I think this is just about over.
Yeah, it's not looking so good at all, and from what I'm hearing, it's sounding like it could be a Jadong victory on stream number 1 against Dia there, Autosis.
What? That would be so insane.
Yeah, it's officially Jadong has beaten Dia, Autosis, from what I'm hearing.
Oh, really?
That's
People
right.
are telling you in your headset?
That's right, that's
oh
what
my
I'm
God.
hearing, Autosis.
I cannot even fathom. Jadong has chosen the first tournament to win in StarCraft 2 as
the biggest
BlizzCon.
tournament of them all.
Yeah, why not? It's the best way to do it, right?
And SOS here, about to take this next map away from Polt, is picking up the planetary fortress. The crowd in the background of us are chanting Jadong from what I can hear. Wow, what a tournament we're having here at the Global Finals.
So awesome. So amazing. Now, looks like, you know, I feel like we're going to be seeing GG in a second here from Polt. He's down by 100 supply. I think there's not a whole lot more to say about that.
Yeah, Polt's played a very strong game here, but SOS has always had an advantage or carried an advantage for the majority of this game, and Polt just hasn't been able to fight equally, I feel. And here comes the last fight of the game. A couple of good storms, and
GG.
SOS picks up map number 3 here.
All right, so SOS leads 2-1.
Yeah.
You know, the winner of this actually goes on against Bomber, because Bomber did take out Sulky. Kind of a surprising result as well, even though Bomber obviously one of the greatest players in the world. Sulky has just played so phenomenally this season. So the winner of this is against that. And then Maru against
Jadong.
Jadong. Oh my God. Tomorrow is just going to be too good.
What a top 4. Jadong fighting for Zerg, fighting for himself in this tournament. But likewise, these players going to give it everything they've got here. Polt versus SOS, the last remaining quarterfinal of the global finals here in Anaheim at BlizzCon.
So exciting. Looks like we're going to get this going right away. They both have said go, go, go.
These players just want to get this over and done with. Which one will join the 3 fantastic players that have already made it to the semi-finals here? Is it Polt, who's had a fantastic year? Absolutely, with his results. SOS had a great start to the year, did drop off a little bit in Season 2 and 3. But no matter what happened prior to this, they are here at the Global Finals and are playing some amazing StarCraft.
That they are, Apollo. Down here in the bottom left, a full-time student as well as a pro gamer. It is CM Storm's Polt.
And up here to the top right, playing here is the blue Protoss. One of the most innovative Protoss players we've seen in Heart of the Swarm. It's sOs.
From Warwick.
Stars.
That's right. So, if sOs wins this, then once again, like happens almost every top 4 of every tournament, there's at least one of every race.
The game is balanced.
That, like, actually, because people are like, where's only 2 Zergs? And then it's like, well, I mean, there's a Zerg in the top 4, and, like, this happens all the time, like, all these different tournaments. So I'm just throwing that out there, Apollo. Just throwing that out there.
Just throwing it out there. I caught it and accepted it.
That's good. I'm glad.
So again here, Polt throwing down the 12 barracks.
I think he's going to go Reaper again.
Yeah, it seems like it, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah.
He has opted for this pretty much every single game so far this series.
And a game like last game literally can't happen here. The map is too small. You can't hide a base. It just doesn't work. It'll be found so quickly. You'll never gain its value out of it.
I really want sOs to proxy another Stargate, but
I don't think he'd complete all 4 games.
I want him to go for like a big blink, maybe after expand. I do like that on this map. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I want.
Okay. Well, let's see if sOs can deliver. As he does move forward with his scouting probe here. He has so far, out of all the previous 3 games, decided to go for a proxy Oracle. In this game, not so much. He's just on a single gas here. And the second pylon was inside the main base.
Might just be playing a more standard macro game here. You know, Polt kind of, I think, is catching on to his shenanigans. And there have been some shenanigans. There's been all sorts of proxy starports, or stargates rather, hidden expands, you know. Polt's not going to let any of that happen this time. Why not play a normal game? But will he go Templar Tech, or will he go Colossus Tech?
Templar Tech always.
I think so.
Always. sOs is a Zealot Archon nerd.
Yeah.
It's his favorite style.
He's not a Colossus dork. He's a Templar Archon nerd.
That's right. An MC is a gateway geek.
Yes, he is. That's very well said. I was looking for what to pair with geek, and you nailed it. You nailed it. I love alliteration.
All right, so we have the Nexus down and the second gas taken. Rather standard here. There is a probe out on the map, though, which I think is a little bit irregular, to be honest.
But
moving down south here. What is
I think it's just a scout. But it's the scout timing isn't quite right, because like if you know they're going Reaper, you just like as you make your Nexus you send the probe in, because that's the Reaper won't be there, and then there won't be Marines there either, and you can scout. But I don't know. Well, I guess you know what, he could buy anyways, so that worked out just fine.
Yeah, and I guess he spots the difference of the follow-ups from a Reaper, whether it's going to be factory or barracks here.
Yeah.
So if he wanted to just throw down Twilight Council straight away, he knows that he's not under threat of the factory, so I think this is really smart the way that sOs has played this up, because if he had seen a factory, I don't think he would have decided to go the Twilight Council so fast.
You know what? That's you're a smart nerd, Apollo, because we have the Twilight went down like 1 second after you said the Twilight, so there it is. Will it be that the 2-base blink play, do you think, like I was saying earlier?
Yeah, I think so. And I think this will just, as Duck did earlier.
It's a really strong play, and you know what, Apollo, we're just kind of on top of it right now. I'm just very happy. It's like, you know, in Pacific Rim, the mental handshake.
Yeah, the mental handshake,
or the neural handshake, whatever it is.
The mental handshake.
This is the neural high five.
The neural high five just happened.
Right now. Yeah.
All right, so right now Polt does not know that this is the case here. He has no further information from that initial Reaper. So this Reaper could try to get in there again. It's going to be hard to find this, though. The gateways are coming down here now. Does he scan if this Reaper gets picked off here?
And if he does scan, it doesn't actually hit the gateways if he scans right on the Nexus.
Beautiful pickoff.
Yeah. So let's see. We'll be seeing with the next 50 energy if he wants to scan or not.
Yeah, he's going to have to wait till the natural actually accumulates enough energy. Only at 38 right now. He's got to wait till 50 before he has the chance to scan. But we already see this. It's already in motion. Look at this. sOs is moving across the map. His gateways are down. His aggressive pylon's ready to go.
Well, you know what? This is really nice when you already have your pylon out there. The blink is going to be done very, very shortly. And, you know, the Mothership Core is already on the way. It's going to be there right when Blink finishes,
Oh,
actually.
there's the
It's
scan
well
and it sees nothing.
well, it sees
the lack
missing
of
gases.
Okay, yeah.
And there are some builds where there'd be lack of gases, but they include the quick third Nexus and, like, a very old-school charge type of play.
Yeah. But
And,
has he got enough to defend against it? Oh, well, there's 2 Marauders. There's a lot of Marines there.
He can't just blindly blink up right now, I don't
Yeah.
think. I think he has to lure stuff down to the natural, use the time warp, and blink into the main.
Oh, it's a good blink there, actually. Very aggressive, and he picks up 1 SCV, and he's going to actually bring down this bunker here. A nice move. There are 2 bunkers behind that as well. Is this going to work here for SOS? He's currently leading this series,
Well,
2 games to 1.
His Mothership Core is actually a little bit misplaced there. It's always really nice to get a time warp on them coming up the ramp. I think that's what he kind of wants here.
You may try that again here. He blinks forward. There's a time warp on the ramp, and this is it. SOS is going to try and launch this attack. Is it going to be successful?
Well, he has a lot of stalkers, but it looks like, that's very well done with the quick stim there by Polt.
Yeah, and 2 medivacs out as well, or very close to being out here. And just off 2 barracks here, Polt has pushed himself forward very fast, and SOS could be in trouble here.
Well, he does pick off that bunker, and you know what? He has continued to make quite a few probes, so this isn't completely all in or anything like that. He still has potential to transition out of this, but he needs to keep on putting on pressure at the minimum. He needs to keep the medevacs in the main base as long as possible, but at the same time, he needs to get home before they hit him.
Remember, there's no engineering bay down, so there's no upgrade advantage really for Polt here, and we do have the Forge coming in. And a nice move here by SOS. Does pick off just a couple of SCVs there. Every little bit helps.
It's actually really important for him to pick off anything and everything he can get at the moment. And I think that he realizes that this has almost come to an end. There's not a lot more damage to be had. There's going to be enough medevacs out that if he's out of position, he dies.
And you don't want to die.
No, certainly not. That's not how you win.
You want to live forever.
Yeah, who doesn't? Come on.
Alright, well, these Stalkers do a little bit of damage there and they blink away.
Yeah, picking off a Marauder on the way over is very nice.
Does he have enough, though, to defend the straight-up attack at this point?
I think so.
Yeah.
Between just a couple force fields, perhaps a time warp, perhaps a Nexus Cannon, I think he's okay.
Yeah. He grabbed the medevac there as well, which is very nice.
And that one, I feel like that's a little bit too sloppy. That wasn't as
Stalkers.
needed right there.
But he's Stalkers for a Marauder.
He'll have charge pretty soon, and he's actually gonna have the +1 armor before the +1 attack from Terran. So I think he's actually in a fine spot, in my opinion.
And there's a decent amount of gas, so he can go straight over to a couple of Archons here too. Or at least high tempo for feedback then into Archons. So yeah, it's not too bad for SOS here.
And this is a type of army that I don't mind having on this map at this point in the game as well. You know, charge plus blink is going to allow you to clean up like early scrappy aggression type of plays. And I think he's going to be able to secure his third without too much of a problem, which means this should go into a reasonable macro game for a bit.
After such an aggressive start here for SOS with that blink play straight after expanding, this game does continue on.
One of those pylons still hidden pretty well. Polt's third command center did finish up, being turned into an orbital at the moment. Probably will send it over towards his third pretty soon. I think he's going to figure out what's going on with SOS, that SOS is actually planning on expanding. And then he's going to need to be mining from his own third.
Well, SOS will want to expand now as we're about to see that probe go down and put that Nexus in place. Storm not too far away from finishing at this moment. SOS has now gone into a turtleneck position, just very defensive at this point. Now that Polt has a lot of medivacs out, but against Blink and High Templars out, it's very difficult for Polt to achieve anything with drops per se.
Very true. Oh, this could be a very nice snipe getting the Templar Archives. Unfortunately for him, Storm's already done. And you know what? He lost a lot of units there.
And he didn't kill the Templar Archives either.
Oh my god, that was actually terrible then. Oh, that's... Well, Polt's in a lot of trouble, Apollo.
Yeah, that was not so good. That trade was very poor for Polt. Unfortunately there, as SOS's Storm finished right at that second. A little bit unfortunate, you could say. And now we do have that +2 armor not too far away from finishing. Just that +1 armor coming in for Polt, who will be just at this moment at +1 attack and 0 on armor.
Okay, so you're Polt right here. What do you do? Do you pull back? Do you keep on trying to harass and put on pressure? Because this army's getting really scary out in the middle.
I think you have to drop 1 or 2 medivacs here. You know, maybe just 1 or 2 medivacs inside the main base, but also keeping up a very strong setup back at home. I think if he just doesn't do anything to SOS with a little bit of a lead that he's got, and especially killing off these units, it's only going to get worse.
Do we have another balanced tournament top 4, Apollo?
We're about to find out here as the medivacs on the left-hand side get picked off here. This is really big for SOS.
It certainly is. Some nice micro there from Polt, at least saving 1 for the moment. He's got to be careful though. That charge is ready. He's got a couple High Templars. He's got these Stalkers to help chase it all down.
Oh, another good storm there, doing a lot of damage, and a great forward blink as well. Probably going to change target over to those medivacs immediately once the opportunity presents itself. And Polt is losing a lot of units here. Zealots randomly found its way into the mineral line, which will cause a little bit of distraction here for Polt.
Another set of units here for Polt. He cannot be losing this many units. It looks like his SCVs, so many of them going to be taken down.
And SOS getting closer and closer to a top 4 finish here at the Global Finals. Polt needs to hang on with everything he's got. He's closed the wall.
Well, he will hold on beyond the wall. You know, that is a place that you do not break through with charge lots, that's for sure. A couple Side Storms would be beautiful there, but SOS has already done the damage that he needs right now. He can actually fall back, continue his tech route, and be completely fine.
Do you think that Polt's made far too many mistakes in this game? He seems to have played this a little bit sloppy compared to the other games, and unfortunately, you know, it's cost him a major supply disadvantage.
Have to agree with you completely there, Apollo. It's not quite as good play as we saw from Polt in his other games today. Maybe he's getting a bit fatigued. It's been a very long day for everyone, of course. But this game, he's not quite keeping up as much.
Well, a couple of units do get picked off there, which is nice. Every little bit helps as Polt pushes forward and forward. Some retreating storms coming down by SOS.
Well, you know what? Right now, Polt's doing a great job. Like, his army beats what we see out in the middle of the map with SOS. So SOS has to be careful. He has to hit a couple Side Storms here.
And Polt does see those High Templar. He's not afraid of them as he continues to march forward here. And the supply has started to equalize a little bit, and SOS turns around to fight. One storm. Well, he kind of walks into that storm there.
That's a lot of storm damage taken right there. Everything was actually kind of okay a little bit ago, but that hurt. Luckily, he's picked off most of the Stalkers, so he actually can pick up and run away.
Well, it looks like there still is a reinforcement pylon at the north there. As High Templar do come down, that's a lot of Zealots, man.
That is a lot of Zealots. Well, again, he can hide behind the Supply Depot wall. That's definitely true.
But he needs to mine from this third if SOS is mining from 3.
And in fact, there's a Zealot over there right now. 2 Zealots, in fact. Oh, God. That's getting really painful. Well, at least he still has 56 probes, so that's good. Or SCVs, rather. So that's still a good number. But it's still kind of hard, man. His economy is kind of in shambles.
It really is. He needs a couple of SCVs over towards that third, but look at the amount of Zealots that are streaming down. And, well, he's not on the other side of the wall, Autosis.
Yeah, you cannot fight against this on open ground, especially those High Templars. Oh, going down on the Medivacs.
And Zealots in the third again.
Great multitasking here by SOS to get that done.
But Polt's brought all his army together now. Look at that pincer-like almost.
Well, let's see how good is Polt's micro. A nice zoom out here, and it looks like beautiful storms going on down to the south, even an Immortal coming. In the meantime, the Zealot Archon army wrecks the top part of Polt's forces.
Look at the supply difference, 160 to 115. Polt is losing a lot here, and SOS is just 1 game away. Is this the game that carries him into the semi-final? Some great EMPs there that come across the wall, but there seems to be too many Zealots.
That is so many Zealots. No way, no how is Polt going to hold on here. This is... Even if he kills this all off, I feel like critical damage has already been dealt.
Critical damage indeed. SCV's been destroyed again on the natural. SOS has expanded to a 4th base as well.
Wow. Down to 33 SCVs at the moment. The Archon's continuing to wreak havoc here in the natural base. Polt's still trying to micro his way out of this. His micro is phenomenal.
Yeah, he's done rather well here. There are a couple of storms there to help out this Mortal and Archon. Great couple of storms there coming in from SOS. But he has started to drop in supply a lot, but he is just throwing units at his opponent, trying to kill him off.
Well, at least he catches the Immortal, but more Zealots in that third base. The amount of SCVs killed at this point.
52 SCVs.
Oh.
And they're all SCVs from that third location.
So, right now we actually have SOS switching his tech up. He's going to Colossus. He's like, no way, I'm going to that round 4. I'm not going to take any chances. Polt, like, I just can't even think of a way right now for him to come back.
His income is very low after all these SCVs have been picked off, and with only one starport and still building medivacs, he has not even got, well, he's got one Viking, but not more than that. And there's currently already a Colossus out and a second one on its way.
Thermal Lance is going to be the nail in the coffin here, Apollo.
Yeah, that's going to be very difficult for Polt to deal with, especially now that SOS is mining from multiple bases compared to Polt. He's got one extra. That drop at the north could help if he's able to stop this fourth base from mining, but overall, still, Colossus unanswered for.
Well, all right. So, what advice would you give Polt here, Apollo? Because I can't really think of very much for him.
Keep trying hard, Polt.
Keep microing. I guess that's it. He's got to utilize his micro here. He has to be cost efficient for like the next 10 minutes. You know?
That's right.
That's like just whittle SOS down slowly but surely. Thing is, he's going to have to lift one of these command centers to take a fourth as well. He can't even make another command center right now. That's not an option. He's going to have to lift the main command, float it to a fourth, and then he's going to be stretched really thin against this constant Zealot warp in and run bys that we're seeing from SOS.
This is difficult here. This is difficult, but Polt, can he find a way? Can he find a way here, Autosis?
It's tough. The thing is, he's doing things that would kill most Protosses in the whole world. But SOS is just so solid. Like, moving all these armies around like this, hitting multiple locations, a lot of Protosses will fall apart, but look at SOS. He's got the Warpins everywhere. He's got High Templars spread all over the place for defensive purposes. Beautiful size from there, warping the Zealots right on top of everything.
Yeah, Polt just splitting his army up, looking for a way back in, and he has found a little bit of a hole on this third base for now, and he's going to kill off a lot of probes. Still has an army at the north that will probably try to contest that base, but Zealots do defend that, and, well, the Colossus defend this one as well, but a lot of probes did get killed there.
That was a lot of probes killed, for sure. And, in fact, he's going to go to the main base and see if he can get some damage done. Doesn't look like too much, though, unfortunately, for him. The thing is, he's still on just this third base. In fact, he's making a fourth command center.
Autosis, there's 4 Colossus, though, versus 2 Vikings.
Oh, yeah, no, it's still completely grim. But the fact that Polt has done this extra damage, the fact that Polt is actually making the additional command center, tells me that he thinks maybe there's still a way. Well,
let's find out if they're, you know, can he do it here? Because this is everything for all players here at BlizzCon at the Global Finals. This is the tournament of the year.
No doubt about that.
We saw that
for first. Come on.
$250,000 shared between everyone. We saw the resilience of Duck in his final game against Moro. Did not want to let it go. And likewise does Polt here with SOS currently leading 2-1. Currently leading this game on Derelict Watcher. Can he put himself in the top 4 with some fantastic players? Jaedong, Moro, and of course Bomber. Can he join them?
Well, we will see. The supply differential getting a little bit bigger for SOS right now. Those Colossi, that's the really scary part. Ooh, he cleans up those 2 medevacs as well that got stuck after that kind of greedy drop in the main.
Yeah, Viking count starting to climb up though. It is at 5 now compared to 4 Colossus.
I mean, that's pretty good. He's making some progress, but Blink has been out forever. There are still 8 Stalkers, Psystorm, and there's Archons in here as well.
Yeah, it's almost time for SOS to move out.
Yeah, I feel like he's secured enough.
And with that probe, he sees the army and also sees the, well, that Zealot, sorry, sees the army and also sees the expansion. So this is a very clear move here from SOS to go north.
Well, Polt may as well just go attack somewhere else. He's not going to be able to defend this location right now. His army is way out of position. In fact, here he goes, dropping into this third base area of SOS once again.
Oh, this Planetary Fortress is going to get picked off incredibly fast here. Polt's going to try and defend it, though. His army's coming in from the south side. Storms aren't going to keep them away from that. And the Planetary Fortress does get picked off.
Yeah, that's so painful for Polt. The third base of SOS stays completely intact. His fourth base still unhurt. At least Polt is mining from the bottom, right?
He is mining from the bottom now, but I think that SOS is going to collect all his units together. He keeps on defending his third. He knows that Polt isn't going to focus too much on that third base anymore. And I think that this could be the move that SOS pulls to try to win the game here. But has Polt bought himself enough time? He has 7 Vikings and 11 Ghosts. With some good EMPs, good snipes, maybe.
Yeah, you know, if he can prevent all the storms... Oh, God, that's a lot of Colossus. 6 Colossus. Like, even if he EMPs perfectly, I feel like the Colossus will kill his entire army before the Vikings can kill them.
Yeah, 9 Vikings is high, but likewise is 6 Colossus with this army.
This is like a 15 Vikings needed army right here. This is... Oh, this is
maybe
very
a
rough.
flank if you could get to the back of the Colossus, maybe.
He definitely is going for the flank. Oh, the first piece does engage. The second piece comes down and actually snipes a lot of High Templars, but this army so strong from SOS.
Yeah, so strong with a lot of units left over, and Polt plummets in supply down to 75. GG is called, and SOS will make it into the semifinals of the global finals here at BlizzCon.
Polt played some fantastic games here, Apollo, but SOS is in peak form. He looks so good, just like he did at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, Ro8 actually did mention it earlier on in the broadcast at the start of the day that SOS was his favorite, beating Liquid Hero, now beating Polt. That's as you said, peak performance, looking very, very good.
Seriously, and in that top 4 for tomorrow, we have Bomber versus SOS. I did not expect that to be the top 4 match.
Yeah, here's the top 4. Bomber versus SOS. J-Dong versus Morrow.
Maybe a little bit easier to predict that bottom bracket, but I tell you, that is a wonderful lineup. We have 2 of the top Korean Terrans, a top Korean Protoss, and a top Korean Zerg.
Yeah, that looks like an absolutely fantastic top 4, and that will all be played out, bear in mind. This stream that you're on right now will not be used tomorrow. It'll all be played on the main stream, all matches live in front of the BlizzCon audience.
That's right. So, guys, thank you very much for watching. We're going to go ahead and close this out. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for the stunning conclusion of WCS 2013.